Yes, folks, Trump is going to win tomorrow, and I'm not basing that solely on the polls.
A new Susquehanna poll shows the president up by 1 in Florida. ABC, Washington Post, their poll shows the president up by 2. North Carolina, Insider Advantage poll has the president up by 4. The Trafalgar Group has him up by 2. Insider Advantage has the president up by 2 in Pennsylvania. Trafalgar has the president up by 1 in Pennsylvania. Inside Advantage also gives him a 2-point lead in the state of Georgia. We'll have more on that in a minute. Another Insider Advantage poll has the president down by 2 in Michigan. Trafalgar has the president up 3 in Michigan. In Iowa, 3 new polls to share tonight, the president leading, including a Des Moines Register poll that has the president up by a whopping 7.
Yeah, and I'm not basing my prediction solely on what Michael Moore said either.
Recent presidential polls show Joe Biden making gains in the Midwest.
So according to an ABC News Washington Post poll, Joe Biden leads President Trump by 7 points in Michigan, and that is the home state of our next guest. But most Democrats are saying it is way too soon to let the guard down, even with those margins. Award-winning filmmaker and host of the Rumble with Michael Moore podcast, Michael Moore, the one and only, is here to talk about the final push for Joe Biden. Great to see you, Michael.
Good to see you, Michael.
Good to see you guys. And let me just say, it's awful news that Biden is ahead by 7 points in Michigan. And I have to fight against this constantly. I need to remind people that the poll back in July said at that point that Biden was ahead in Michigan by 16 points.
Right.
Trump has cut that in half. Trump has tightened virtually every one of these swing states to the point where, what are they saying this morning? It's 5 points ahead. Trump Biden's 5 points ahead in Wisconsin. He's maybe 3 to 5 points ahead in Florida, 2 points ahead in Arizona. Listen, don't believe these polls, first of all. And second of all, the Trump vote is always being undercounted. Pollsters, when they actually call a real Trump voter, the Trump voter is very suspicious of the deep state calling them and asking them who they're voting for. And it's all fake news to them, remember. So it is not an accurate count. I think the safe thing to do, this is not scientific, I'm just saying from my experience of being a Michigander, whatever they're saying the Biden lead is, cut it in half right now in your head. Cut it in half, and now you're within the 4-point margin of error. That's how close this is.
Yeah, and it's not only based on this stat either.
And some other statistic that I think is very interesting, you were talking about the Trump rallies. Around 20% of the people that attend Trump rallies, Jesse, are registered Democrats. So you can factor that in however you want.
Yeah, and it's not only based on Trump's superior marketing either.
I always want the cameras to show. They never like to show. They don't like to talk about it. You can hear how big these crowds are. And by the way, in all fairness to Erie, all over the country, it makes you feel good, all over the country. The biggest crowds anyone's ever had. Bigger than what we had 4 years ago. Bigger. Oh, and you have to watch what we do to 60 Minutes. You'll get such a kick out of it. You're going to get a kick out of it. Leslie Stahl is not going to be happy. The Democrat Party hates fracking. They hate coal. Good, beautiful, clean coal. They hate American energy, and Joe Biden will shut it all down. He's going to. Tonight I want to do something. I want to give you, this is an original Donald Trump Broadway play. And I had it done specifically. First time I've ever pulled it out. I had it done specifically for the people of Erie because you guys like energy. You like being energy independent. Do you like that? Energy? Doesn't that We don't need all these faraway lands and everything else. We are now energy independent, and we're going to keep it that way. Take a look at this clip. We had it made up, and I think you'll like. First time I've ever done this, right? First time. Go ahead, wherever it is, put it up.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel. No new fracking.
I'd gradually move away from fracking.
And I think it's critically important on day one that we end any fossil fuel leases on public lands.
Brilliant. And he gets free TV coverage as well.
Like, what about, say, stopping fracking and stopping pipeline infrastructure and
They want to do the same thing I want to do. They want to phase out fossil fuels, and we're going to phase out fossil fuels.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Yeah, and it's not only based on crowd sizes either.
There is so much at stake in this election. Versus...
I'll work as hard for those who don't support me as those who do, including those chumps with the microphone out there.
At the end of the day, people connect with people. And obviously, this is an extraordinary election because we're in the midst of a pandemic.
Thanks for that introduction.
Yeah, but my prediction is mostly based on this. Yes, businesses right across America are boarding up because they know Trump is going to win.
We're doing this because there are anarchists. We've had elections for decades and centuries where we haven't had to board things up. But there's a movement in this country that is anarchic, And they're Antifa, they are Black Lives Matter, and they are very hardcore left-wing agitators. And that's why this has to be done.
Exactly. The far-left Marxists will never accept a Trump victory. And when Jack Tame tries to blame Trump, I know I've got this right.
Kia ora, Melissa. This is an incredibly contentious election, and so many Americans are feeling anxious and uncertain about the potential scenarios in the coming days. What happens, for example, if there is a contested result? What will happen if Donald Trump loses the election and then refuses to leave the White House? And
always got to blame Trump.
What happens if either side, the Republicans or the Democrats, feel that the election result has been stolen from them? Tonight, here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, people are preparing for the worst. On Pennsylvania Avenue, just 2 minutes from the White House, they're boarding up the streets. Are you doing this in case of protest?
Yes.
Riots?
Yeah, it could get hectic here.
Do you do this every election?
No, just this year.
All throughout central Washington, D.C., work crews are preparing for the aftermath of Wednesday's election.
Everybody's putting it up just this year. They got a bad feeling going on, so just in case.
I think the worst case scenario is a Republican presidential victory that leads to major unrest in American streets.
Yeah, at least this guy's got it right.
Dr. Seth Jones is a security and threat analyst. He says the combination of the pandemic, racial tensions, and incidents of police brutality make this a uniquely tense moment.
We've had a lot of standoffs and people shooting paintball guns at each other or spraying bear spray, but not a lot of fatalities. That certainly could change. I think that's my nightmarish scenario. It's like Charlottesville, Virginia on steroids.
2017 in Charlottesville, a woman was killed when a man described as a white supremacist rammed his car through a crowd of anti-racism protesters. Since then, large-scale protests, rioting, looting and unrest have become familiar sights on American streets. Now, as Donald Trump and Joe Biden crisscross through the battleground states, the contentious nature of this election is impacting every corner of America. Across the US, Walmart stores have taken all guns and ammunition off the shelves.
Yeah, Walmart. There's the red flag right there. They are anti-Trump haters, so they know exactly what's going on. Yes, folks, Christy Walton, the heiress of the Walmart fortune, is the biggest backer of the globalist anti-Trump Lincoln Project. So she would have first-hand knowledge of what the violent riots that the Democrats are preparing.